Michael, how are you?
I found something really interesting.
The whole housing market is propped up on these bad loans. They will fail.
The housing market is rock solid.
It's a time bomb.
Hi everybody, welcome to What the Flick. We are going to cover The Big Short. Now, as you know, if you've been watching this channel, I've already discussed this movie with Alonso Duralde and Christy Lemire. They didn't like it so much, so I decided to literally jank the score up. I brought in Cenk Uygur and Ben Mankiewicz. This is an episode of old school What the Flick, the way it used to be, and we're here to talk about The Big Short.
All right, fantastic. Now, I might foil your plans.
Oh, no.
Because I had mixed feelings. Not only did I have mixed feelings, I'm not sure I remember a movie that I had as mixed feelings about.
What was the positive?
The positive is you must see this movie because it's about an incredibly important topic and it'll help explain it for you. You'll walk out outraged and be a better person for it.
Wait, did it work?
Then literally, what the hell is your negative? Yeah.
What the flick, What the flick, Cenk? Yeah. What the flick?
Okay, the downside is it was stylistically weird and not in a way that I enjoyed. Like Fargo on TV is stylistically weird in a way that's phenomenal, right? It takes chances, but the chances work. And you go, oh, that's his view, that's that person's view, that's artistic, but really it makes me more into the show. The chances that they took in explaining things in The Big Short, I didn't think quite worked. And it took me kind of out of the mood to bring in people. Talking to the camera, I don't mind. Narrator, I don't mind. I know some people hate that by definition. I don't at all. I usually
you don't
like
mean
a narrator.
stylistically the manner in which it was shot. You mean the artistic decision to like have celebrities 3 times sort of explain complicated financial transactions.
Yeah, it really took you out of the movie. You know, a movie has a flow. Like, and I've talked about this a lot before. When there's some movies that I come out of and I go, that was a movie, right?
Right.
And for whatever reason, the example that sticks in my head is The Departed. Like, I felt so into Departed. I felt like, boy, that was a movie like movies are supposed to be. I walked out, I felt fantastic. The Big Short felt a little disjointed. They'd take you out every once in a while. I wish they told the story in a slightly more traditional way.
Well, I would, it's where I have to be more deferential to Christy and Matt and Alonso, but I don't have to with you, which is nice.
Agreed.
You dumb, fat.
I'm not sure I'd go that far.
That's right.
Although accurate enough.
I don't think you can realistically, I think you undermine your own argument. I don't think you can make that argument at the top that it delivered, that you must see, that it will explain it in a meaningful way. Doing a financial movie is hard. Right?
No,
incredibly
I
hard.
that.
And
That was the third thing I was going to say.
So I think
it's super hard.
And so doing it the way they did it, I wouldn't want to see a bunch of movies made this way, but I think it was a 10. It's one of the reasons why I loved this movie so much.
Wow.
There are really 4 moments where you were taken outside the movie. 3 times with celebrities, with Margot Robbie, with Anthony Bourdain, with the guy I don't know, and Selena Gomez.
Right.
That's
right? And then one time where the characters in the movie explain that they step out and they're like, it didn't really happen this way, but it's way better for the movie if we pretend like it
There's a
happened this way.
couple
But
places
the
that
essence,
happens.
A couple places, but the essence of it is this, and I adored that because this is so important. And considering there were a couple of movies this year that came out that told stories that I think is, to me, important, critical stories for America to understand. One of them, Truth, the Redford, Cate Blanchett movie about the George Bush National Guard story where and cost Rather and Mary Mapes their jobs. That, while being on the right side, didn't deliver. And so our attempt to, at least in a movie, set the record straight.
Right, or example like, on a somewhat similar story to this is 99 Homes, which is the other side, kind of the man on the street version of the financial meltdown. And that's a very dramatic, very powerful story. And then the end, you get this ending where, to heighten the drama, a lot of people are like, what the hell is that ending? So I think this one that takes you out of it and explains what are really hard to understand concepts.
Let me take on 99 Homes just for a sec, because I think that's really interesting. I really like 99 Homes because I think that ending, while overly dramatic and silly in Hollywood, it's literally 3 minutes. So to me, it was like, yeah, it's a bad ending, doesn't matter. Like, forget it. Like the literal ending. It wasn't the last act, it was the end. And the other movie, just regarding Truth, is Trumbo. Like we need to have a great Hollywood blacklist movie because it's a freaking outrage, right? What we did in sort of the name of freedom and seeking the truth. You were, the House Un-American Activities Committee, as I say in every TCM lead-in, behaved in more un-American ways than anyone they ever investigated. And this movie doesn't do it. It doesn't do it. It doesn't do it. And it's heartbreaking that it didn't do it. So here, to me, whatever they did to make you come out of that and think, they did it, I say bravo.
I agree with you. I thought for sure you were going to mention Spotlight in there because I think nonfiction is much, much harder, of course.
But Spotlight, it's not confusing. It wasn't.
No. Yeah, I hear you, but it was an important truth that that people need to know about, and that's why I want everybody to go see Spotlight because it's a great movie. Plus, you get to learn what power really does.
Yeah, Spotlight, to me, best movie of the year.
Yeah. So, but in that. Even in that case, Spotlight is not a movie like Departed was because it's nonfiction and it's harder. So in my stupid movie, rating, right? But
Spotlight was definitely a movie.
Okay, but having said that, Spotlight was a great movie, and so when I look at Big Short, Matt, I didn't walk out of it with the same feelings that I did about Spotlight. Like I felt like that was an important story. You really, really ought to know it. They did a decent enough job in telling you, so please go see it. But it wasn't a home run like Spotlight.
See, I disagree with you. I think you couldn't tell a story like that, and we haven't even gotten into it. The Big Short is the story of the financial meltdown.
Michael Lewis's book.
Right, based on the book by the same guy who wrote Moneyball. And it's dry. Like the subject matter it covers is really dry. And I think the strength of this movie is that it uses the stylistic trappings that do repeatedly break the fourth wall to get you to sit up and pay attention. And I think I put this movie in the same kind of vein as watching vintage Carlin, vintage Bill Hicks, and arguably Louis C.K. these days, where guys who are have you rolling on the floor laughing, and then the next morning you're like, hey, wait a minute, that's what the fuck, right? Like, and that's what this movie does, is that it when it cuts to like, yeah, we know that this derivative stuff is all really dry, so here's Margot Robbie in a bubble bath. Well, hell, everybody in the world is paying attention at that point.
You get what's happening because it's complicated. That's why, because it's complicated and everyone gets how complicated it is, I massively appreciated that effort to break the fourth wall and step out.
So very curious. This is one of the very rare books I read. Okay. It takes me forever to read books, but I read The Big Short. I loved it. Did you guys read The Big Short?
I have not read the book.
So if you haven't read the book, you understood it perfectly well from the movie?
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Absolutely. I started it and then didn't finish it.
No, are you kidding? Numbers make me go to sleep. That's why I watch movies for a living. Like my wife does bookkeeping, and my head just shuts down. This financial stuff is completely above my head, so that they can explain this in a way. The casino scene is terrific because as they start talking about the cascade effect of these different wagers and how that plays out with the different financial institutions and the way they're talking about credit defaults, like by the end of it, like, oh, okay. When one of them goes bad, they all go bad. I get it now.
Matt, both of you guys are almost making me jank up the score. So I'm
right.
Now I have to figure out whether I'm going to stick with my original score or not. Because you made a really great point there. To me, I already understood that that they bet on other people's bets. But it is very hard to explain. And in that tiny little scene where, yes, they broke the fourth wall and did this really weird thing, they did explain it pretty well when you have the other people that are watching betting on their bets.
In a way that you couldn't dramatize in a traditional narrative. And that's the thing. That's what this movie does really well, is that when it's taking these these are concepts that people go to school to understand. And on a certain level, part of the reason, and what you understand from this movie, is that the market's got to where it got to because everybody was asleep at the wheel. And then there's collusion and malfeasance in covering it up. And that's what the movie explains really well. And if they have to break through the fourth wall to tell you that, great, fine.
And it's not just explaining it, it is conveying the danger of it. It's one thing, like from you mostly, I've gotten a lot of explanations, but what I never get, and not because you're not good at explaining it, because it's nearly impossible to feel viscerally, okay, but and here the and was clearly presented, no one will get money. no one will get their money. The money
Right.
will all evaporate, and nobody will have anything.
Right.
And
And then when it says, and here's how they're doing it now.
Right,
And
right.
you're like, whoa!
Right.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll go back to telling you that you got to see this movie on the postscript alone. I don't know if you guys got the same thing. I don't want to give it away here, but what Dr. Burry is doing, what he's investing in now.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're literally the last things you'll see on the screen, to me, have enormous importance. Okay, so just think about it after you see it. So now you're going to want to see it,
And then also,
which you should.
And then real quick, we got to give numbers. We got to go. But the fact that this kind of movie gets done by the writer and director of Anchorman and Anchorman 2 and Step Brothers and the other guys, like that Adam McKay did this, like bravo, man. That's just a guy
see, but
stepping
since
out of
I'm
his-
a hack and not a professional critic like you guys, I didn't even know it was that good.
Right, but I mean,
And I really like
this
those
is
movies.
Will Ferrell's guy to do.
Right.
And Will Ferrell's his guy. They're a team. But I don't know. That just makes me want to embrace it. Like, the great to take it on and to take it on in this original way, and then to give it vitality and life, and to take it solely from the guys who made money off it. You know, it's just a really interesting way to tell this story.
Finally, one little extra fun fact about it. The main narrator, actor in the movie, Ryan Gosling, who tells the whole story, I played rugby with him in college. I know that guy really well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, at least I knew him
Does he
really
look
well
like
back
Ryan
then.
Gosling?
No, he looks much crazier.
He's funny, man. Gosling, and I mean Steve Carell.
Steve Carell.
So great in this.
So angry and so awesome. And there's that scene later in the movie where he has that quiet moment with his wife, played by Marissa Tomei, that was devastating.
Yeah.
In the midst of this funny, satirical, like, oh yeah, I'm outraged here, and you get that little history of him and his brother, and it's devastating.
His guys, his team, Carell's team, and they love him. And even though he's clearly a difficult guy to work with, those guys were so good. All three of them.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
guys were great.
That's right. Steve Carell's team. I love those guys. I wanted them to be in a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah, totally. And obviously, in Christian Bale, always delivers and delivered here. Everybody was good. I mean, the scene with the Standard & Poor woman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and all of it is true.
Yeah,
all of it is true.
All of it is true. That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I have a decision on what I'm going to do with my score. But what's your score?
9.2.
Wow.
No, screw it. 9.5. It's great. It's great. It's fun. It's lively. It's a big short thing about credit default swaps, and it's freaking lively. It has this movement, and I loved it.
Yeah, I'm moving my score up to a 9.
You were at
I was at
8.5
8.5.
last night, or
I'm
9?
going up to a 9.
All right, good.
Okay, this is perfectly fits into what I decided to do with my score. Coming in,
Lowering it.
I was at a 7. Okay, because of all the stylistic issues that I had with it. Hold. But you guys succeeded in janking up the score in my own head. And I was thinking, wait, should I on principle stay on the score that I had before? And then I thought, no, the whole point of TYT...
I already reviewed the movie. You didn't even stick to that.
Exactly. I talked myself up.
That's right. But the whole point of TYT Network is to be open to new ideas. And you guys made really good points in defense of even the style of the movie, especially the casino scene and how easily that explains things to people. So I'm going to move it all the way up to an 8.5 for me.
All right, so it's a 9 for us.
So
for
it's a
a
9.
9.5,
All right.
8, a 9, and an 8.5. Good. Okay. Good work. Well done.
Mission
nice job.
accomplished.
All right.
Okay.
All right. All right. All right. We'll all shake hands. Go make some money. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody.